Your assignment for today was to apply some of the techniques for evaluation that we looked at in the last class to an obesity prevention program. In order to lay the groundwork for that, let's look at some hypothetical results from a program. Across several schools, 500 students were randomly chosen to participate in a nutrition education class. 75 students, 15% of the participants, were deemed obese. After 3 years, the same students were surveyed. 60 students, or 12% of the participants, were still obese, but that's a 3% point decrease. The counterfactual is that the 3% point decrease would have happened regardless of the nutrition education program. So what if we did a simple before and after, or pre-post test, looking at the children before they entered the nutrition education program and afterwards? 500 students participated in the program. 15% were initially obese, 12% were obese after 2 years of treatment, leading to a 3% decrease in obesity. So what factors besides our nutrition education program might have accounted for these differences? One possibility is that the price of vegetables and fruit and other healthy foods decreased. Another possibility is that the students just had more access to healthier foods and less access to sugar-sweetened beverages. Another possibility is that as they grew older, they just grew out of obesity. We can't tell whether it was our program or whether it was factors of these sorts that resulted in the 3% decrease. So now let's combine our before and after test with a differences in differences technique. We have 500 students. We've already mentioned that 15% of them were initially obese, 12% were obese after 2 years, with a 3% decrease in obesity. But now, with the difference in differences approach, we have a comparison group here. We have 4,000 students in the school district. 15% of them were initially obese, just like our 500 students who were selected from that group for nutrition education. After 2 years, 14% of them remained obese, so there's only a 1% decrease in obesity. So we have a difference in the first group, the group that got nutrition education, of a 3% decrease in obesity, and in the second group, only a 1% decrease. So what does the difference in differences technique accomplish that the mere before and after evaluation didn't? What it does is it controls for factors that might have affected all the students in the school, such as maturation, growing several years older, or the availability of fresh fruits and vegetables. Let's consider how we might use propensity matching as an evaluation technique for the nutrition program for preventing obesity. We identify characteristics of individuals in the treatment group, for example, their body mass index, weight, height, race, ethnicity, gender, age, household income, family medical history. These are characteristics that we think may be relevant to success in losing weight. We then match them with individuals in the comparison group who have similar characteristics. The advantage of this technique is that it makes the treatment of the comparison groups more similar. It still has some of the disadvantages that we may not have identified all of the factors that are relevant to reducing obesity. Now let me examine how we might use regression discontinuity to evaluate the nutrition education program. The Centers for Disease Control define obesity as a body mass index, BMI, of greater than 30. So in this experiment, only students with a BMI of greater than 30 are enrolled in mandatory nutrition education at their schools. Under the regression discontinuity design, we compare the outcomes for children who are just a little bit over and just a little bit under the 30 BMI cutoff. The 30 BMI cutoff is arbitrary. Students who are just a little bit above or a little bit below that cutoff are really like each other in almost every respect. So this mimics randomization, and if there's a significant difference between those two groups, we can attribute any success to the nutrition education program. Finally, to illustrate randomization, let me use a different intervention, the building of parks and playgrounds. Here's how we might do that. We identify all neighborhoods with high levels of poverty and childhood obesity. We randomly choose 10 neighborhoods to receive a park or playground, and we compare, after a period of time, the rates of childhood obesity in those neighborhoods with neighborhoods that did not receive parks and playgrounds. If there's a significant difference between the obesity of children in neighborhoods that receive parks and playgrounds and those did not, we can attribute the difference to our intervention.